Hi, this is Visitor's Book and I'm Maija, your host. In this program, we're going to be meeting with diplomats and foreigners who live here in Pakistan, and we're going to find out what they really think about the country. So let's go. So today we're meeting with Andreas Wutz, who's the first political secretary of the German embassy. So let's go find him. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you.
Good to see you too, please.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks
for having me. Such a nice house.
Thanks a lot. It is indeed. It is very spacious.
Yeah. And so you've been in Pakistan since July, right?
Yes.
Last year. Okay, so how has your experience been so far?
Actually great, I have to admit, yes. So I came here with my wife end of July last year.
Okay.
And so it has been a little bit more than 6 months currently. And so we have nothing to complain about, to be honest. So we spent the first 2 months in a hotel, and then we moved into this place.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were welcomed and greeted with, this very famous Pakistani hospitality. So we already managed to get in touch with a lot of people also outside the diplomatic community, and so it is. We're happy. We are enjoying ourselves.
Yeah, that's really great. And so you've only quite recently joined the Foreign Office. What were you doing before that?
Yeah, that's also correct. I lived a few years abroad in the Middle East.
Okay.
So let's say my life, it wasn't a straight line, so it was a little bit going, in curves.
Yeah.
After having studied, or let's start with the beginning, with the childhood. So I had some kind of very well-protected childhood in the Bavarian countryside.
Okay, so you're from the south of Germany.
I'm from the south of Germany, and I grew up in a rather small town. And so it was all beautiful, but somehow I had this inkling, okay, there is a little bit more, so the world is a little bit larger than that one. And then I studied, and I had this feeling, okay, so I have to venture out. And about 13 years ago, I did my first internship abroad in Beirut, Lebanon.
And what did you study actually?
Well, I studied political sciences, German language, and classical archaeology.
Oh, wow.
Quite old. And so I went to Beirut, and it's somehow I got somehow hooked to this, living abroad.
And that must have been a great city.
It is indeed. It was quite fascinating for some lad from a Bavarian town,
like totally
and it was
different,
different
out in the wider world.
Yes, but it was only 3 months because I didn't know. I mean, it's hard to assess from the beginning because maybe the experience could have been, well, okay, that was nice, let's go back to Bavaria and stay there. Would have been fine as well. But somehow I wanted to continue this path, and so I applied for another internship. So I went to the German embassy in Cairo, 2007. Still liked it, so I applied for something longer, 1 year, with an organization called German Academic Exchange Service, the DAAD or DAAD, as it is often referred to. Actually then I got the position as teaching assistant in Cairo, Al-Azhar University, for 1 year. And then, it kept on repeating. So this year drew to a close somehow. And I still got this feeling, well, I don't want to go back. And then I applied for another position in Beirut, and I became lecturer in Beirut for 2 years. Then I went back to Germany for a year. Then there was, with the DAAD again, some position coming up as country director of the office in Jordan, Amman.
Okay.
I applied, I got the position, I went there for 3.5 years. So, it kept on going, basically. And then, end of 2015, I came back to Germany, and then I joined the Federal Office for Migration and Refugees. So I was, let's say, also part of the larger asylum framework. And I really liked this position. I moved to Berlin for that one. And then there was this, call for application for the Foreign Office. And actually, even when I was a student, like back in the early 2000 years, So it was basically always my dream to become a diplomat.
Oh, really? Wow.
But I somehow, thought, well, it's not going to happen. And I mean, in the end, I somehow was some kind of a cultural diplomat before. I didn't have diplomatic status, but I represented this German culture. Yeah.
And
I just loved it. Being abroad, interacting, with counterparts, experiencing all this, different kind of cultures and languages. And I thought, well, I'm in Berlin. The Foreign Office is in Berlin, and why not trying it? Let's try it. And then I did, the whole application procedure. And I don't know, maybe it was some mixture of maybe luck and destiny. I don't know. I can't tell. But in the end, it worked out, and I joined the Foreign Office in 2018. Mid of 2018. I did the diplomatic training there for a year, and then I got posted here as my first posting within the German Foreign Office.
Was that like, were you able to choose where you wanted to go? Was Pakistan like a country that interested you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the system works. I mean, you get a list with all the vacancies like about a year ahead, and then you can prioritize. Yeah, so you have to. It's like a checklist or a wish list.
Right.
Yeah, so okay, that, and maybe that, and maybe also that. But it's not. I mean, you can't. I mean, you can't rely on it. So because in the end, I mean, once you become a diplomat, I mean, you sign up that you can be posted all over the world. I mean, that's part of the game.
Yeah, it could be anything, basically.
Part of the fun, somehow. So it could be technically anything, but of course, I mean, the Foreign Office is, I mean, the colleagues are very willing, I mean, to take your suggestions into consideration and to match them if possible.
Yeah. And of course, if you have like a background like you did, you'd already been to Middle East, so yeah.
And I mean, Islamabad, it was quite, high on my list, so it was like priority, like in the first tier,
That's interesting.
Yeah. The thing is, I have to be honest, I mean, I wasn't in Pakistan before.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
There is these certain pictures, you have.
Exactly.
But the thing is, I mean, this also applies to the Middle East and all the countries I lived in. That there is a certain imagination in Europe, which is sometimes partially true, but there is so much more.
Exactly.
And I thought, well, I mean, I would be surprised if that wouldn't be the case for Pakistan as well. So let's give it a chance. And then, I mean, my wife and I, we came here in May last year for some kind of flat hunting or something, and interacting with colleagues in the embassy and doing some kind of handover when it comes to the dossiers. So we spent a week here, like a little bit ahead before we moved here permanently. I mean, we were really so captivated and surprised, but because it was, I mean, the weather was lovely, so it was May. Yeah, so it was
early May probably.
Yeah, early May. Yeah, I know. Then like at some point the rain
wasn't like
kicks
close
in.
to 45 degrees.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also that. I mean, I like the heat, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Actually, well, not like extreme heat.
Cairo
but
was 50 degrees, and
oh my gosh.
I liked it.
Yeah, it's often when you're from a cold country, you don't mind the heat.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Which is,
like, what about the winters? How do you like them here?
Well, I mean, that's the first one we experienced. I mean, yeah, it gets chilly inside the houses, and these places are not so, cannot be heated up easily. But so far, so good.
So good, yeah. It's not like unbearable.
No. We are not suffering. All good.
Okay. And so your wife is also now here. She didn't have any issues moving here?
Well, no. I mean, of course, she leads kind of a different life because she doesn't work here. Yeah. But the thing is, I mean, it's a large, expat community here in Islamabad. And I mean, people are generally very friendly and hospitable here. So I mean, she had also many occasions to, make new friends, interact with others. So she isn't bored, so to speak, which is also good for me. So I mean, of course, once you enter a new country, you need a while to settle down a little bit. Yeah, and I mean, we spent 8 to 9 weeks in a hotel, which is, I mean, it's a little bit bizarre, you know, to live in a hotel, because usually a hotel is a place where you stay. You know,
for vacation,
vacation, or, you know, for a few days or maybe 2 weeks. But after, you know, 1.5 months, it feels, you know, like Groundhog Day, you know, like you go, there's always the same people in the dining hall, and, you know, so, but, you know, then you get your own place, and I mean, you have a different kind of, you know, daily routine you're going to establish. Then you blend in, and then you settle down, and you buy some furniture here and some, you know, personal items, and make it a little bit cozy. And so no, I mean, after half a year, all good, and she's really also enjoying her time here.
Great. And speaking of personal items, you love to play the guitar, right?
I mean, I do. Not good. I mean,
I'm sure you're great.
I started 21 years ago.
See, you definitely are better than me then.
I mean, I can. Well,
let's hear it.
One needs some kind of hobbies, you know, because it's not, you know, everything's about work only. So, but the thing is, fingers are a little bit stiff because it's still, you know, chilly. But I mean, what do you want to hear? I mean, you can do like.
Wow.
It's an easy song, I have to admit. Yeah, but I really enjoy playing the guitar, and I mean, these are very personal items also, because I got those from my parents like 20 years ago.
Oh, is it? Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
So they keep on, you know, moving with me through the world, so to speak.
Awesome. Great. Do you do sports here?
Well, I should do more, to be honest. I mean, I used to be quite an active person. So, like in Germany, I always, you know, I walked a lot in Berlin, and sometimes, you know, you have this extensive, you know, metro system and public transport system, but which is, you know, really, you know, quite cheap and efficient. But sometimes, you know, I got off like a few stations earlier just to have like a kilometer or 2 kilometers, like walking distance. Here, you know, the thing is, you usually drive.
Exactly.
You take a Karim or you take your car, and
Have you ever tried playing cricket?
No, I haven't. But I mean, cricket is. I mean, that's something very special. Here in Pakistan, that's what I learned. People are crazy about it.
Exactly.
I have to admit, I have no idea about cricket. Well, it is a complete mystery. I can't read it. So if there is like a cricket match going on, I can't tell, okay, so who is leading? Who's going to win? I have no idea. But it is very fascinating to watch. And it is like, you know, people always say, I mean, Germany, I mean, we are a football or soccer nation, and I mean, you know, we have the Bundesliga, and people all over the world, you know, watch German soccer. But I think like the love and passion for cricket here in Pakistan, I mean, that might be even, you know, eclipse the German love for soccer. So what do you think? I mean, the weather is pretty nice. We should go to some park and try to find some people to teach us some cricket. Yes, definitely.
Let's do that.
Yes, let's do it. Yeah.
We're going to take a short break. I'll see you in a little while. Welcome back. Andreas and I are here at Shalimar Cricket Ground, and we're about to learn how to play cricket, hopefully. Let's go see if we can find someone.
maybe.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hi, I'm Maija.
Irfan.
Nice
Hi,
to meet
Irfan.
you.
Pleasure
How
to
are
meet
you
you.
doing?
So yeah, you seem to know what you're doing. Do you think you could tell us a little bit about cricket?
Sure, why not? Basic rules. This is called the cricket pitch.
Okay.
Those are the wickets. This is the ball.
That I know. Okay.
It's a simple tennis ball with tape on it.
Yeah, okay.
And
Okay.
if you want to play proper cricket, you'll have to do padding and all that
Okay,
stuff.
so-
All right.
You
Well,
have to
we're
hide
not
it.
Let's take the
high-tech
easy
So
route.
today.
we're just going to be doing the easy stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
So you'll be standing over there
Yeah.
holding the bat, and I'll be giving you the ball. I'll be bowling the ball to you.
Yeah.
And you'll just have to
Just
cover
hit
your
it.
stumps and just play.
Whoa!
Oh, almost.
So close. So close. No, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Okay. Yeah.
Practice session, don't worry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yay. Yay. Wow. Whoops. Yay. Okay, you're getting there. But yeah, so do you feel like you understand it a little bit better now?
Well, I understand, throwing and, hitting part, but what I still don't get is like, why are all those people, who is running around
Right.
and they're running around in circles and there is this other, there's these three
Wickets, yeah,
like
or
this
stumps,
wicket or
as we
stumps,
learned.
but there is another one on the other side.
Right, it's so confusing.
I have no
They
idea how
change
these things
places
are.
Somehow, I don't know. Like, I have actually tried looking
Yeah.
up the rules, and then I somehow got a little bit of an idea, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I get it. But then when
Yeah.
I tried watching a game like on TV, I was like, nope,
No.
don't get it.
The thing is, it's very fascinating. Those guys are playing there, and I can't read it. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know really what's going on.
Exactly.
But the thing is, after living or having lived here for half a year, it is an obsession.
It is.
and it
You have
runs
to- yeah.
deep in the veins of the people here. And so
Exactly.
I think, in order to
The
understand
country.
the country and the society, it's important to. Wrap your head around these things. And so for me,
Absolutely.
it's more of kind of an intercultural learning experience
Yes,
right now. And it's
exactly.
fun.
Yeah.
Definitely fun, yeah.
I do think it takes a little bit of time to
It does.
get a hang of everything because it's so much more complicated than anything. Like you mentioned, like football, soccer
Yeah.
is a thing that Germans are into.
Yeah.
That's very
also,
simple.
there is also like offside rule, many
Yeah.
people, they know about soccer and they know the basic rules.
Yeah.
But,
But
if
there
you
are
ask somebody
also,
how
yeah.
to explain offside,
Then it gets complicated,
It gets
yeah.
a little bit tricky, yeah. But
Do you still like follow the Bundesliga?
I have to admit, I don't.
You
I'm
never
not so
did?
into. I'm maybe the first German you met who is not some
Okay.
kind of football aficionado.
Yeah.
So that's I'm not so much into watching sports.
Okay.
Usually I'm more this kind of person who tries to play it actually.
That
So,
makes sense, yeah. So maybe we'll see you here more often at
Yeah,
to learn cricket.
I get to. I think I have to buy this kind of bat and a ball, and then
get all the equipment and
some
get a
person who throws it,
trainer,
and
yeah.
then I can have fun, yeah.
Maybe, we could start like a foreigners cricket club.
Yeah, but I don't play against Pakistanis because
No,
that would
that's
be
very dangerous. That's
no
embarrassing.
chance. Yeah. So
You're
we
just
have
gonna
to-
stand there like, I don't understand what's going on, but okay.
Am I winning or not? That's quite embarrassing.
Well, that's
to
also
ask
like,
this question.
yeah, winning or not, maybe that's not the point.
It's not. It's about. It's for the sake of the game.
Yeah. All right. Should we go sit down somewhere for a minute?
Yeah, as you like.
Let's do that. Okay, that was cricket.
Yes.
Did you enjoy
Indeed.
it?
I enjoyed it very much actually. So I managed somehow. I didn't know how to hit the ball.
Yeah.
To be honest, I still have no clue about the rules because, what happens after hitting the
Yeah.
ball?
Who knows?
Guys are starting to run around.
That's a mystery
But it was a
still.
great experience. It was
Yeah.
really fun. Yes.
Cool. So I actually wanted to ask you a little bit about, you mentioned that you taught at Al-Azhar University in Cairo.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. That's like the most famous university in the Islamic world.
Yes, and I mean it's one of the oldest, one of the first universities founded in the 10th century. So I mean more than 1,000 years old. It was quite a fascinating experience. Amazing. Indeed. I taught their German language. And also like some other subjects like German history.
In German?
System. Yes, in German, which is, I mean, it was some kind of a challenge because, I mean, most of those students, they didn't speak German. They didn't have it at school. They started it, and so they were beginners. And I mean, you have to imagine there were, like, in my lecture, 150 students. There was no electricity in the classroom. There was no textbooks. But it was, I mean, it was working with people, and you were very close to the students. And what was so fascinating is that, I mean, many of those students, they come from all, pockets of Egypt. So some of them were from Cairo, but they came from all parts of the country. And most of them, they were like, 18, 19, 20, 21. And they never left Egypt. And many of them actually never left their hometown except when, they went to Cairo for studying. And it was, somehow I was a window to Germany, to another, to the Western world, to another culture, to another language. And so they were really, eager to learn. And it is a challenge how to teach 150 students at once. Yeah?
Exactly.
So it was quite fascinating, and I mean, it is a huge university. So there's like 250,000 students, not just on this campus. I mean, they are spread all over the country, but there were several dozens of thousands students on this very campus. And there were always two sections. There was a male section, a female section.
Okay, so it is segregated.
It is segregated. There's a wall in between, and everything is doubled. So you have, like, for example, the faculty of languages. You have two faculties of languages.
Oh wow! Okay.
And so you have like the department for like German language. You have it twice.
Right.
And I taught at both actually.
Okay, so that's fine. Like you can have
that was no issue at all.
Mm.
And it was really, I mean, that was quite an experience.
Wow. And have you noticed here in Pakistan that people are interested in learning about Germany or to learn German?
Yes, I mean, that's the thing is, I think Germans are very much liked here.
Really?
So yeah. I mean, people. I mean, usually, you go. I mean, you go around in a Kareem and then you start chatting with the driver. Unfortunately, I don't speak Urdu yet, so I have to resort to English. But luckily, most people do speak English. And of course, I mean, you do the basic chit-chatting, and then where are you from Germany, and then usually people are, wow, Germany, and then they get into the cars and into the soccer thing.
Do they? Yeah, so they know about the cars and soccer. What else?
Well, I mean,
Not that much.
It's to be honest, it starts with the cars and soccer. But I mean, I think like the general picture of Germany. I mean, it's the other way around. The same.
Positive,
how much does one know about
Pakistan in Germany?
Exactly. So it's always a few pieces,
Small things,
But I mean, the general impression, the general attitude towards Germany is very friendly, very hospitable, and I mean, usually, people cheer up when they learn about that I'm from Germany.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And of course, I mean, there is a German Cultural Institute, not here in Islamabad, but in Karachi, the Goethe Institute.
Okay. All right. So they have a presence.
Yes. There are German learners in Pakistan, but of course, it is quite an exotic language.
It is like, why would you? Yeah, because there's like, let's say 3 countries that you can use German in, like Germany, Austria,
Switzerland, and I mean it's a minority language in other neighboring countries in Europe. I mean the language itself isn't that small. It's 110 million native speakers, spread across those countries. But I mean, of course, I mean here people, I mean you speak, I mean they speak Urdu. I mean it's a fascinating how many languages, indigenous languages are spoken here, and it's like this cultural diversity, and linguistic diversity, and people they speak Urdu, they speak 1-2 other local languages, Punjabi, Pashto, and then of course English. So
I know it's amazing, and especially when you meet like small kids and they speak like perfect English. You're like, oh my God, you're like 4 years old, and you're like blah 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 in English.
So that's quite fascinating,
really,
because
that doesn't happen in Europe.
it doesn't happen in Germany because I mean Germany it's quite a monolingual society. I mean, of course we learn English at school, so it is part of the curriculum.
Yeah, but it's only until later that. Like I personally started learning English when I was 9, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's usually you don't grow up, in some kind of bilingual setting.
Yeah.
So no, I mean there is a growing interest, and I mean of course also when it comes to economy. I mean of course I mentioned the cars, but I mean there is also many other economic ties between Germany and Pakistan. So I think people are also very interested in exploring those kind of alleys. So how can exports be boosted to Europe and to Germany? So I think there is a lot of opportunities also in the economic field.
Is there anything that you would personally like to promote more about Germany in Pakistan, like a cultural thing or anything like that?
Well, I mean, Germany is also quite diverse. I mean, of course, there is always these kind of stereotypes, attached to, the perception of any given country. Well, I mean, I'd like to promote, let's say, a realistic picture of Germany, and I think we are a democracy. We have rule of law. We have, it's a quite diverse, multicultural setting. I mean, of course, in Berlin there is a huge, migrant community, Turkish community, Arab community, but also in many other places in Germany. So I think we are a quite, modern, open country, and that's something I'm actually also proud of. To be representative of a country who has this kind of welcoming, attitude, and it is also a melting pot.
Absolutely.
There is people from like all over the world. I mean, 190 countries on earth. You will find them somewhere
in Berlin, at least.
Berlin for sure. But I mean, also in places you might not expect. And I mean, we have a long, history, and I mean, also the German culture dates back to prehistoric times. So I mean, we're also the product of migration streams and people mingling in the heart of Europe. And I mean, that's also something which I think it's quite an interesting experience. So because I'm really proud that something like the European Union exists. Yeah, so. You have an organization where countries come together to collaborate, to tackle issues they can't tackle on their own. And I mean, also given the history of war. I mean, let's not forget. I mean, within Europe, there have been wars for hundreds of centuries. I mean, for hundreds of years, for centuries. And we somehow overcame it, in like 70 years ago. I mean, that's for us, it's a lifetime. But I mean, given the span and amount of time of war before that, I mean, it's quite a short period. And I think this general message of collaboration, you are stronger together than alone. So this in a multipolar world. So that's important, I think, and that's something. I mean, we are now, you are surrounded by friends in Germany, and of course, I mean, there is still borders. But sometimes, when I go to Austria or the Czech Republic, and I can go with my car, and sometimes, if you don't know it, you might pass the border.
Exactly, and you're like,
okay, now that's Austria. And it's a different culture. It's so it's so many cultures also within Europe. So many languages, so many different backgrounds. But there is this unifying element. There is this blend of common experiences and common history which unites us. But there is so many unique features every country has. And so I mean, so this is kind of this general idea of collaborating, working together, and promoting peace.
Great. But okay, it's getting late. Are you hungry?
Yes, I am.
Great. So let's go find somewhere to eat.
That sounds like a plan.
All right, let's do that. We're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. I'll see you when we come back. Okay, welcome back. I'm here in F6 supermarket with Andreas, and we're about to order some food. So this is where you normally move around you're quite familiar with
my wife and I, we live quite close by, so that's basically our market.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's quite handy. So the general layout of the city, in the first weeks it was a little bit confusing, you know, because of F63, and then you have no street names. So, but I mean, once you get the knack, it's quite convenient.
It's well organized.
It's very well organized.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're a vegetarian.
Yes.
So I think I'll leave the food choice to you then.
Yeah. So I'm always with, like, you know, some paratha and, you know, some I don't know.
Paratha is always easy for a vegetarian.
The spinach one, and I have to admit I'd like the masala fries.
Yes. Let's get that as well.
Spicy, and what else? What do you want?
I don't know. I'd like to try the nachos as well. So that's it. Thank you. How have you found it, like, being a vegetarian in Pakistan? I mean, some people say it's not the easiest thing because it's a meat-loving nation.
It is a meat-loving nation on the one hand. On the other hand, I mean, there is plenty of vegetarian options.
That's true,
So I mean, when it comes, I mean, it's like the main dishes. I mean, they have to comprise meat. I mean, that's somehow. I mean, usually if you go with the main dish, it's a meat dish. But there is a lot of these, you know, vegetarian thali, like the small side dishes, appetizers, something like in the Middle East you would call meze, you know, like this tiny appetizer side dishes thing. And there is a lot of vegetarian options. So like the dal and you know the all this kind of aloo paratha and you know, kind of bread samosa, pakora. Yeah, that's something I really like. Yeah, the fried vegetable part.
They're yummy.
So there is plenty of options actually. So I have to say it's not so difficult to get along as a vegetarian here.
And I mean, you as a diplomat, you have to go to a lot of receptions probably, and food is usually a pretty big part of that. Have you ever had, like, strange situations where people are like, why are you not eating?
Well, I mean, many receptions are like buffet style, so I mean that's of course easy to navigate through. I mean, yes, sometimes I mean there is this. I unfortunately forget the name. There is this Pashtu dish, which is basically it's like a meatball with like meat and fat around it. Like it's,
I'm not familiar with that, but
it's very, you know, some kind of traditional Pashto dish, and of course they offer this to you. It's kind of a, you know, courtesy. But the thing is, I mean, people are also, this concept is not so very much, you know, I mean it's not so much widespread here, but people are very open, and I just explained it to them. It's no offense meant. So I don't think it was ever a problem. And again, so there is always, you know, vegetarian dishes, and generally speaking, so I really like, you know, Pakistani food.
That's really nice.
It's also, I mean, this whole, you know, diversity which goes along with, you know, the language and the landscape. It's also reflected in food. You know, cuisine is also some kind of a mirror of a country, and so as diverse as the country, as diverse is the cuisine. And so
I mean, speaking of diversity, how much of Pakistan have you gotten to see so far?
A little bit. I mean, so my wife and I, we like to travel, so we like to, you know, discover the different kind of you know, pockets in every nook and cranny of this country. So we managed so far to go to Lahore, to Karachi, Murree, Peshawar. And I mean, to Peshawar we even took my car, so which was quite a fascinating experience. So when it comes to driving there, So, but that's just the beginning. I mean, we arrived half a year ago, so we will stay, inshallah, further 2.5 years. So there will be plenty of opportunities to explore even more. So of course we have to go to the north. That's obvious.
That's still missing.
And I mean, I'm looking forward to revisiting also places I've already been to. We have also been to Taxila. Actually last week. And it's so close. So.
Yeah, it is. That's an easy day trip to do from here. So what do you think was like your favorite place you got to visit so far?
It's really hard to tell because it's so diverse.
Exactly.
And I mean, you can't compare, you know, Karachi and Peshawar. It sometimes, you know, it feels like, you know, two countries in one, you know.
That's true.
I mean, the good thing is about Peshawar and Taxi, I mean, that's quite close. I mean, Peshawar is like 3 hours ride.
Exactly.
So it's something you can do over the weekend. Karachi, you have to fly, so I mean you have to have at least an extended weekend, so you have to
and
take
it's
a day.
massive, yeah.
And it is massive, but I lived in Cairo, and so it's 20 million there.
I mean, I was going to ask you, like, have you noticed any similarities between the big cities and Cairo? Because I mean, there must be a lot of like hustle and bustle and traffic and stuff like that.
There is a lot of hustle and bustle, but I mean that makes it so fascinating. It's some kind, a counter reality to the very serene
organized,
and tranquil life which we lead here in Islamabad.
But yeah, let's try some of this food.
With pleasure.
Looks pretty.
Cheers.
Yep, cheers. Did you eat a lot of like street type of food in Cairo?
Well, I actually did, yes. I mean, the thing is, in the beginning it usually takes a while, because you have to get used to, the spices and some ingredients. But I mean, after a while, I mean, yes, I've quite a strong stomach.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I'm really into venturing out and trying something new.
Well, let's see. That's good.
That's how I like it. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah.
Cool. So, have you managed to convince any of your friends or your parents to come and visit you here?
So I'm still in the process of lobbying, but I'm pretty convinced that some of them will visit.
Yeah,
so
really?
I mean, so I'm in discussion with my parents. So it's nothing scheduled yet, but
So you've managed to convince them that Pakistan is a place they should visit.
They should definitely visit. Yes, and it's much easier also, like the whole visa issue, and so it's not that complicated actually.
Yeah, exactly.
So I encourage all my friends and family to come here and to show them, my home for the next 2.5 years.
That's really nice. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the work that you do here at the embassy. You have a focus on, is it 3 different areas or?
It depends on how one counts. Okay. I mean, I'm in the first secretary in the political section, and so the portfolio comprises migration, refugees, human rights, humanitarian aid, rule of law, and religious affairs or dialogue with Islam. So it's straddling several topics. So it's not boring at all. So there's always something going on. And
then the other thing that you also have been working on is refugees, the Afghan refugees. What kind of a project do you have going on in that?
Well, I mean, that's also, I mean, it's also due to the fact that, I mean, that everybody knows Pakistan has been, a hosting country for Afghan refugees for the past 4 years. Exactly. And that is, of course, something which is very commendable and which has to be applauded because, I mean, of course, it puts some burden on, the infrastructure and also on the general society. Absolutely. What we do is we have a project targeting the Afghan refugees, but not only the Afghan refugees, also the hosting communities. So, because I mean, those people, they are living somewhere. They are living in urban areas or in rural areas, and so they're living in some Pakistani society. And like all the projects we conduct, they're always targeting both. So let it be an infrastructure project or education project. So because we think we need social cohesion, and in order to strengthen social cohesion, so we must not do anything which could cause a rift in any society, because people are living together there. We focus on both the Afghan refugees as well as the Pakistani hosting community.
That's really nice. So that sounds like you're getting to do a lot of interesting and important work here. That's great.
Well, we'd like to contribute, So I mean, there is a strong relationship on different levels between Germany and Pakistan, and I mean, part of my work is actually to contribute that to deepen this relationship. So I hope that we can make some dent and leave a mark here.
Right. So how many years do you see yourself still staying here?
Well, I mean, so we are on kind of a rotation system. So usually the duration of one stint is 3 years. So, I mean, I've been here for 6 months.
Yeah.
So it will be, inshallah, 2.5 further years. So it will be mid of 2022.
Yeah, exactly.
2020. And so I'm more than willing and compassionate to finish this term.
Yeah, that's really great. And I mean, we already touched on this a little bit, but do you think Pakistan still suffers from this really negative image abroad, in Germany, let's say? I mean, because you had a very popular ambassador here who was very famous on Twitter. Do you think that in any way got back to Germany? Did people find out more about Pakistan, that it's not such a dangerous country as people maybe think?
Well, I think that, you're referring, of course, to Mr. Kobler, which is, he's kind of a brand name, so everybody knows him here, which is...
Even in Germany, everybody knows him.
I think he's even more popular here than in Germany, so he's kind of a superstar. And of course, that contributes to, the general, it feeds into this, general positive attitude towards Germany here in Pakistan.
Absolutely.
In Germany, the thing is, people do not know so much about Pakistan, and of course, it is also. I'm working here, and so I'm kind of liaising with the Pakistani audience, and there is a thing called public diplomacy. In the end, what we do here is also part of public diplomacy, reaching out to a general audience and not just to government officials and other diplomats.
Exactly.
In Germany, I try within my own very small purview. Of course, I relay pictures back. What I see here, what I experience here, I relay back to headquarters, but also, to my family, to my friends. And of course, we've touched upon it already. Things on the ground are often, and most of the time, different than is expected.
Exactly.
So there is always this, stereotyping and having this kind of preconception. And I think that's a general, experience in life. And I'm not that old, but I'm not that young anymore. So the older one gets, the more experiences one, garners and gathers. One should have, a look at things. So go somewhere and make your own experience. Talk to people.
Yourself.
See for yourself, and not just rely on information of somebody else. So that's what I kind of reflect back to Germany. I think there is much to learn about Pakistan, but it is a very fascinating country, and so I'm more than willing to contribute also to channeling back some insights into this interesting part of the world.
Okay, now it's time for our rapid fire round. Are you ready?
Okay, what do I have to do?
You just give me a very quick answer.
Oh, okay.
Whatever comes to your mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Shalwar kameez or jeans?
Shalwar kameez.
Okay. Lahore or Karachi?
Whoa, that depends. So, I don't want to make enemies or foes.
It's okay.
It's a hard one, to be honest, because I've visited both, and both are beautiful and they are very unique. So let's split it 50-50.
Okay, all right. Just this one.
Fair enough.
South Asia or Middle East?
That's also a tough one. Currently South Asia, because I live here, and that's part of my life now. But Middle East is also part of my legacy and my part.
For now, South Asia. Okay.
For now, South Asia.
Dead Sea or Red Sea?
The Red Sea.
Okay. Dal or palak paneer?
Dal.
Okay. Amman or Islamabad?
Currently, I live in Islamabad, which I really enjoy. Islamabad.
Okay. The first thought that comes to your mind when I say cricket?
I don't understand the rules. I can't read it still, but it is fascinating.
Okay. Northern Pakistan. Northern Pakistan.
Northern Pakistan. Yeah, I have to go there. I've never been there, but of course, it's on my bucket list.
Yeah. The walled city of Lahore.
Beautiful.
Bhangra.
Flamboyant.
Perfect. That's what it is.
It is,
Islamabad.
My home, currently.
Yeah. The best thing about Pakistan?
Best thing about Pakistan, it's the diversity. It's this blend of different cultures and colors and histories, which all are mingled here. So
yeah.
It's
great.
Diversity.
Okay, then it's time for you to sign our visitors vote. Okay, let's see what you wrote. Thank you, Pakistan, for the warm reception and the hospitality. I am looking forward to my further stay. I also hope that you continue to enjoy your time in Pakistan, and thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. That's it for today. Please join me again next week, and don't forget to follow us on our social media accounts at indus.news. Goodbye.